Hello, 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 everyone. Hello and good evening. This is Dion Brown, licensed therapist and self care expert. I want to welcome you to another episode of an integrated approach where we, on the first Sundays at 6 p.m., talk about various important topics and issues that may affect and impact our mental health and wellness connected to spirituality. Each time the broadcast brings on a featured guest where myself and that guest talk about various subjects and topics and incorporate spirituality into those discussions. Now, we do incorporate spirituality primarily from a Judeo Christian perspective, but we are very respectful of other spiritual and religious frames of thought. Tonight, we are excited because we're going to be discussing finances, spirituality, as well as post election anxiety. We know that there's a lot that's been going on in the climate here, there's a lot that's been happening in the atmosphere. For those of you that are joining us through Facebook, uh, YouTube, DMV Therapist, as well as Instagram. Please like and share in Facebook, and I'll mention this periodically. You will be able to comment, ask questions in real time. So please share this stream with your friends and family. You will also be able to go back and view this as well in real time. Tonight, I'm excited because we are having with us a friend and colleague in the person of Mr. Donald Butler. Mr. Donald Butler is the CEO of Butler Sweared Consulting. It is a firm specializing in accounting, tax, and IT consulting services. With over 25 years of experience in the industry, Donald brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. His insights are invaluable for churches, nonprofits, and for profit businesses looking to navigate the complex landscape of financial compliance and management. So, without further ado, rather, I'm going to bring on Mr. Donald Butler. Hello, sir.
Good. Hello, hello. I am excited to be here.
We are excited to have you here. Welcome to, uh, for the first time ever, an integrated approach. I know that we have been, really trying to, get you in for a while. So we're very grateful and very happy that you are here with us and that you have been able to join us. So I want to thank you for that.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to tonight's discussion.
For sure. For sure. One of the things that we do from time to time with guests that come onto the broadcast, we encourage our guests to share with us just, I guess, one or two things about yourself personally that um, you would like our listening audience to know that may be unique concerning you as a person or special concerning you that people might not necessarily be aware of. And that can be, anything you like, any sort of hobby, any interest, any special skills, abilities, fears, concerns, etc.
I take that as an introduction, part two, because people did not know that I was interested in fashion and why I got into fashion. So I would say, that may be a question mark that people still have, that maybe they see the fashion side, but they don't understand why I'm in it. Um, Whenever we do business, a lot of times we can do it because we feel that this is something I want to do, that I feel like that I love doing something. But I would not know if I loved fashion until I got in it. So for me, going into fashion was more of reaching into another market, because or another industry. So for example, with my experience being in a big four CPA firm, we had different industries that we worked in, whether it's government or telecommunications, manufacturing, you name, various ones. And so in my industry or my small firm, I have people that do behavioral health, uh, hairstylists, so people that's in the education industry, as well as the uh,
Hmm.
what else? The other industry I'm thinking of. So real estate. So real estate industry. So when I look at all the industries that we've already tapped into, I was like, we never touched into fashion, even though some of my clients are celebrity clients, but there's the fashion side of it. And so for my gala, I did a fashion show, and I really liked the fact that we brought that to life. And I thought, I don't want to just do fashion shows. Why not do a magazine to go along with building momentum towards the fashion show? How do we tell the story leading up to the gala? So that's something that we've been working on. So thankfully, we launched the magazine, so it's available for subscriptions, and we look to tap in and interview business owners and make sure that we capture those stories. And so that's something that people don't know about me. Then the other part is I'm a business owner just like you. What does that mean? Just because I do taxes, just because I have my own accounting firm, does not mean I'm any different. So some of the pain points that business owners deal with, I deal with the same things. Whether it's scale, how to scale your business, leveraging, hiring assistants, other talents to help you to do your job, so you're not the one that's always having to do the work. There's
Absolutely.
that we have to deal with. Like 9 to 5 is not 9 to 5 when you have your have your own business. So that's something that people don't realize, I guess, about me. That perhaps I am a person, I am a business owner, just like everybody else. So I want to spend time with my loved ones, just like you. And they don't think I do. They text me during the holidays, during a Thursday, like Thanksgiving, like, "What about
Mm.
this? What about that?" Or on Sunday, like, "Hey, I need you." I'm like, were they expecting a response back? And so, but that's just the nature of running your own business. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so,
I
yeah.
absolutely. I fully agree. Definitely fully agree. All right. Well, thank you for that. So, without further ado, I know we're going to talk about a lot. So let's gonna jump in and have this discussion. So, the climate here in the U.S. Has been that there's been much stress, much anxiety concerning the things like the economy, groceries, expenses. Many people have felt for a while that things have been higher costs, or even the perception of things being higher in the economy, bringing about turmoil. In the behavioral sciences, we are taught that perception is our reality. What we perceive becomes our reality. Now, yourself being I know you've been pretty modest with your credentials and your background, but with you being such a financial guru, um, do you think that it's, I guess, just hearing from you, do you think that it's a matter of people's perception that things have been higher or are higher, or do you get the sense that they actually have been higher for people cost?
Well, I would say this is there's been definitely a sense of inflation over the last several years. It,
Hmm.
we can go all the way back to 2008, 2009,
Okay.
with insurances. Like when the market crashed, things had changed a lot. When health insurance changed, it changed the increase in health insurance caused companies to drop healthcare from their staff so they couldn't afford it. This is not something brand new.
Mm.
If anything, we've been dealing with inflation, rising prices for quite some time. So when you think of, oh my God, prices are rising, think about our parents when they were young, and I'm speaking from a generation of born in the 70s. My parents would talk about, we paid 25 cents for that. We paid, no, 25 cents is even high, but a penny for that. We had penny candy. We had things are no longer a penny. So you look at like how much a bag of chips costs, and it is full of air. You're gonna pay about $3, $4 for a bag of chips that it used to cost 25 cents when I was a kid. So we have inflation happening in real time where, the way we see it, and we have to be careful of what we hear. We have to be careful what we hear, because what we hear can change it can cause our perception to change according to what someone said. And what do I mean by that? If I tell you that that the storm is bad, in your mind, you're going to have in your mind that the storm is bad. That's it. Now, because there may be believers on here, I would say it's just like when God told the children of Israel to send. No, wait, I don't want to misquote it, but they sent 12 spies over into the land of Canaan,
Mm-hmm.
into the promised land, and 10 came back afraid because of the giants. We
Yep.
can't defeat them. There's no way we can go over there and conquer this land. Blah 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 blah. And then the other two had hope. They were like, "Well, I think we can do this. I don't have any concerns." That was Caleb
Joshua.
and yeah, Joshua. So we're gonna have the small few that's gonna look at this and say, "Hey, we can. There's things we can do." We have, even though we have inflation, people are making a lot of money too.
Mm.
And so there's making $1 million today is much easier than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Wow.
So if anything, it's more of let me tap into making a lot of money. How can I make a lot of money today?
Hmm. Okay.
Let me tap into some groups that's helping people to make more money. I'm not talking about network marketing, even though people do that, but I'm just saying, just in general, just being a part of a different mindset of people that can generate or that can show you how to generate wealth through AI, for example. So if we're not scarce in resources, I'm seeing like there's a person that's on Instagram, one of my I follow him. He doesn't follow me, but I saw he's at 2 million followers on YouTube, and he just bought a Rolls Royce or something in another high-end vehicle. There's
Nice.
This is a young person, probably not even 35 yet. Yeah, so money is much more easier to obtain today than ever before. So I always say, don't focus so much on the problem. Once you settle down and you understand there's a problem and you got it out, you grieve, whatever you need to do. Now let me sit down and figure out a solution. Let me talk
Yeah.
to some people to figure out how to get through this.
And to your point, yeah, like as an entrepreneur, I know I'm looking. I think I talked with you about this before. I'm looking and evaluating plans because my healthcare is still kind of ooh, right, but but yeah, I think it's to your point. I think it's an opportunity to look at what can I do to increase my income, my revenue right now. So I'm definitely in that space as well. And with what I do, looking at expansion of services for DJB Therapeutic Solutions and what that means and what that looks like, and touching more lives and reaching more people. Many people wrestle with and struggle with anxiety. With this, anxiety has to do and we'll talk about anxiety. A lot of I see a lot of people here in the DMV, for example, who deal with some level of anxiety. Anxiety has to do with fear, worry, nervousness, being unsettled, being non-rested. And I see several people are coming in on the different platforms. Please feel free to ask a question or put in a comment, and we'll try to address it. People are feeling stress and anxiety in reference to their money and their finances, um, commenting on the effects of tough times. And that tied into this. That also tied into this recent election with who people decided to choose to vote for. I believe, believing maybe that one candidate might be better for their money, for their wallets, for their pocketbooks, to be able to change the economy, uh, pull us out of inflation. I've always wondered about that part, and I've heard perspectives from obviously, talking with a lot of my clients, about 70 something people, post election.
It's
um,
real.
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, being in your your area and arena and industry, from a financial perspective, is it even possible that, depending upon wherever people voted, is fine, but is it even possible that, so I'm going to be very careful here, and having a social media presence with a bipartisan population of um, wisdom, but is it even possible that a president can, whoever is the president, can hurt or harm the economy? Is
I
that
would
even?
say, yeah, I would say it's not the single person that can do it, but it's the administration.
Whew,
It's the administration,
I like
and
that.
but you got to look at it from the perspective that what are some major key points about the economy that we could say that they can really impact? What people don't realize is they may know it, but they may not realize it. Let me go back. Let me. There's
Time.
some foundational work that has to happen.
Go
The
ahead.
foundational work is God created the earth,
Mm,
and all of the earth resources belong to Him. Man has done evil since the day of Adam sinning and took those resources, capitalized off of them, and made us work for it in many cases. And so, like energy, for example, there is, energy that is available, but we have to pay for it. And so you can get into the guy Tesla that at the time of the Titanic, why did the Titanic really sink? But that's a whole other topic for a different day. But as it relates to this, oil is what God placed in the earth. There's never a shortage of oil. Have we ever heard? Forget if you heard of it, but do you think that there's ever a shortage of oil? Absolutely not. Oil is the anointing that God placed in the earth.
mm.
And what is the agenda right now is to stop the oil and utilize something that is going to control the population, which is electricity. So if more people are driving around electric cars, and as much as hackers there are, they just hack into one of Social Security Administration's third-party vendors that have access to all of our Social Security numbers.
Wow.
So when we have things like that, how confident are we with everything being so digital, like each electric cars? So we're fading away from oil cars, but this is the oil that God placed in the earth. Why are we? That's a different agenda or a different topic, but you have to wonder what is it. So yes, the government, or not so much the president, but the government, the administration can cause inflation, can cause the economy to have a downward turn.
Jeez.
And some of the topics that can happen is even from the standpoint of taxes. So should I shift into that really quick, or should
Yeah.
I just
Go
give
ahead.
a
Go ahead.
so a really quick blurb about taxes? So us professionals in this industry, we don't really get into our opinion of is this our favorite president or not. We have to talk about the facts. So just putting that out there. Kamala came with her tax strategy, and I always think it's interesting how these people come with taxes, a strategy for taxes, and they're not CPAs, but that's another topic. But anyway, so tax strategy, her thing was raising corporate tax from 21% to 28%. Do does anybody really know what that really means? No.
Nope.
Um,
I don't.
Trump, on the other hand, says that he wants to do away with the IRS, and people are like, "Oh my God, what's going to happen without the IRS?" But we didn't always have an IRS. We didn't always have income taxes until sometime in the early 1900s. So you have to ask yourself the question: why do we have the IRS? But anyway, so again, One of his strategies was, well, let me not tax overtime pay. So if you work your regular 40 hours a week and you work, a total of 50 hours, the extra 10 hours will not be taxed at all. So what do you want? Do you want corporations to pay another, increase companies taxes to 28% from 21%? Or do you want regular employees working overtime to not have to pay taxes on their overtime pay?
Mm,
Which one do you want? So when you look at it from that perspective, so then they say, well, if Trump going to tax tariffs, that means imported goods, which you were saying earlier about, grocery and everything going up. Imported goods would be taxed more because he doesn't want to tax Americans more money. Somebody's got to pay the bill.
true.
It's just all about how are you going to pay the bill, okay? So then you have Kamala, if she raised the corporate tax rate to 28%, that means I have clients that are corporations. They have C corporations. If their tax rates goes up, what happens? Why am I paying all these employees if I'm paying more money in taxes?
Mm,
So what's the incentive of having a corporation? If having a corporation was supposed to give me benefits of hiring employees, being able to pay employees and write it off, why am I being penalized with a higher tax bill when I'm the one that's employing America?
wow. Wow. That's great. Thank you. That's that really gives some insight, and obviously, most of us wouldn't even know. We did get a comment. Pauline said, which is true. We're not sure how things will be distributed equally financially with this new administration. This
It
is
would
very true.
never be equal. It would be never equal. The reason why it would never be equal is because not everybody's willing to go do the work. Not everybody's willing to be innovative. Everybody's not willing to do the research. Think about the Word of God. Most people are not willing to study the Word of God. Going through, like, if you take the Old Testament, for example, and we said, the Word says, study to show yourself approved. Are you willing to go into the Old Testament and pull out the concordance and look at each word to compare it to what the concordance says the definition of that word means? That's a lot of work. Not everybody's going to do it.
Yeah.
So, it's never going to be equal from the perspective of we're equally doing the same thing. Most people, half the people don't even want to work anymore. That's a whole other topic. So, to run a business, you know, that's why I said, Dion, you understand this. From running a business standpoint, how can it be equal if not everybody's willing to do the work? We don't work 9 to 5.
We do not. Oh my goodness. And actually, to
So
your
what
point,
makes it equal?
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I want to
No,
hear what you say. I just said
no,
what makes it equal.
and actually, to your point, I had to go to church, do some chores, and do some business work before I jumped on here with you. Got to do some business work to prepare for tomorrow before I even go to work to see clients. I'm always working. I'm always working. I am
So
old.
why shouldn't you get a tax benefit? You're sitting at home, you're working right now. You should be able to write off your electricity. You should be able to
Absolutely.
write off your gas bill. You should be able to write off your rent, your mortgage. You should be able to write off your cell phone, your internet, all the things that you have to use to be live right now.
Facts, for sure.
That's not equal. Everybody's not willing to do that. Somebody's watching a football game. Somebody's watching a basketball game. Somebody is watching a sitcom, a series,
Go
or something.
Ravens. Go
They don't,
Ravens.
right? Go Ravens, definitely. But not everybody's willing to make that sacrifice. But here you are, DJ B Therapeutic Solutions is hosting a webinar,
Mhm.
Facebook Live, Instagram Live that people can tap into. You're doing the work. Not
I
everybody's willing to do the work.
True, and not everybody will, and we know this. Everybody can't be a business owner, or won't be, or don't have the what it takes, or the bandwidth it takes. It's a whole different. I have people will say you're always working. You're actually always working. Yeah, I'm always working, or thinking about working, or what I got to do next, or what I got to catch up on. And for me, with what I do, it takes something to stay on top of everything, and to stay on top of things so I don't get overloaded and overwhelmed and too much stuff gets behind. But okay, so let's kind of pivot off of that for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, So we mentioned that people are anxious, and there are definitely people tuning in from looking at all three networks, Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Um, some general financial anxiety that has been going on. We mentioned anxiety has to deal with worry, fear, nervousness, being unsettled, jittery, um, and now realistically there is some post election anxiety. Those of you that are
Mhm.
particularly, I think those of you that are on Facebook as well as listening on YouTube, if you have any questions or concerns, I don't know if the people on can do it through Instagram, but on Facebook and YouTube, if you have any questions or statements or concerns, just drop that in the comment box. Thinking about what is it that you're anxious about right now post election? What are your concerns about? With this, obviously, with this administration, a lot has been said over time. We have the whole Project 2025 situation, which we don't know what's going to happen, if it's going to happen. I personally have, I want to make sure I don't get ahead of myself. Nope. I personally have a bunch of people that I see who are various federal government employees who are anxious. So you know, post election anxiety. If you're on and you're listening, what some of your concerns, what some of your anxieties. For example, I'll start and say a number of my clients who work for this department or this sector or this region or this sector, um, they have some post election anxiety. Let me tell a story. And then we can talk about this. So let me say this: the reality is, yes, concerning post election anxiety. If you work for the federal government, I understand. I can understand how you could have some anxiety. It's a you know. Would it be safe to say, Mr. Butler, that it's possible that some of the people who work for the federal government may be in jeopardy?
Yeah, they could always be in jeopardy. Why? Because if we're not paying into the government through federal income taxes, they're not going to have enough money to keep people employed. It's just the basic number situation. So should you always consider something else? Absolutely. I think we get settled and comfortable, and we have in our own mind our retirement plan without considering that somebody else is in control over that paycheck.
Mm,
Somebody else can dictate that income flow. So
wow.
we really like think of it like this: the children of Israel, when they were in Egypt as slaves, and Moses went out to deliver them, they did not leave Egypt without a kick and a fight. They was screaming and hollering and said, "We could have stayed in Egypt for all this."
Right.
So we want to stay in Egypt, but God is trying to move us into something bigger. How can we go into something bigger if we're stuck where we are? So
Mm,
somebody is listening that's saying, you know what, I've been having thoughts to start my own business. I've been having thoughts of starting something, being innovative and letting this, my mind keep me from doing that, or my surroundings keep me from doing that, or just my own thoughts keep me from doing that. But hopefully when you tap it into something like today, that you're inspired and say, you know what, I see what's going on, but I'm not going to let that stop me from starting something that I'm called to start.
and I
Many
like
people don't know this. I'll give you an example. Many people don't know this about me. So you asked me something earlier, and I just thought about this, and I won't go into details about it because I would say it really quick. But I felt like when I got a medical diagnosis that made me feel like that's it. Anxiety built up to the max. When
mm,
you get a doctor's report that causes you to be in a place where no one can comfort you except the Holy Spirit, you just feel like that you might as well just hang it all up and just close your eyes and say, that is it. There's no way I can do this. But what happened? God said, go apply to be a professor at University of Maryland. Wait a minute, Lord, did you not see this diagnosis?
right.
And so I looked at that when he told me to do it. It was in the middle of the night when he
Wow.
told me to do it. And in the middle of the night is when you really in that dark place that is quiet, you and your brain, you in your mind thinking, and so I did it. I got the call. I went. I was interviewed, and I got the job. So, Lord, does that mean I'm gonna live? So I had to change my perception about my diagnosis. And praise God, I'm still here today. I've been teaching for now 10 years. So that was
Wow,
10 years ago when I first got the diagnosis.
that's
So
amazing.
glory be to God for that. I love the Lord because He helped me through that. So when we deal with the things that I look at it like this, we have enough to deal with. Don't let the government, the presidential office, cause you any more pain than you need, because at the end of the day, you still got to feed your family.
True, very
It's
true.
just
We got
all about just
to go ahead.
list out what your concerns are. Well, Dion is the therapist, but you list out what your concerns are. We do this in business. What are my concerns, and what do I think? If I came up with a solution, what is the solution to that? Because if we just keep hearing the problem, but we never sit back to strategize
Hmm.
and pray about it. And I'm just using prayer because I mean that's where I go back and I say, Lord, I need you to help me, and pray about that strategy. Let me tell you something. It'll be an eye opener, and you'll be like, "Wow, I'm glad that I went through that process of compartmentalizing things and making sure I understand, like, even what level of risk is it. So, what does this mean for me in the next year? Does that mean that I should, is this really going to impact me in a major way? How concerned should I be? Because let me tell you something, things are going to change anyway. We
Mhm.
cannot continue to operate as things are today. We have AI we're faced with, and we're people are still trying to contend with it like it's going to go somewhere, like it's going to die. AI is not going to die. Internet did not die. So AI is going to be like the internet of today. Robots is going to be like going to take over. You know, we have to be okay with this shift and just learn how to navigate through these changes. But we're the people that don't like to change either, so that's a whole other thing.
We got a few comments. Um, so one is tied into what you said, and another one's a little different. Which is so people have concern and anxiety, in a lot of different age brackets as well. So
Hmm.
got this. So I guess
Oh yeah,
financial.
worry about dissolving SSA. Yeah, that is a major concern. But
Yeah.
this has been something that's big. So in other words, they've been predicting this for so long now. Um, the closer we get to that time that they're estimating that it will be, the question is, are we going to stand there and watch the storm come and wait till the tornado hit, or are you going to make plans now? SSA was never intended to be something that people would live on for a duration. And when SSA first started, let's say they had like 10 people that worked the job that paid into one person receiving SSA benefits. So with now, we're talking about math, perhaps. Now we're at a point that we're at a deficit. One person or those that same 10 people that work to help one person is dwindled is now we don't have the same 10 people. A lot of people are on 1099s. They're not paying into Social Security like they used to. So there's more people getting disability benefits. There's more people getting Social Security benefits, and we're living longer. And they weren't expecting us to live this long, but people are taking care of their bodies more. They're working out more. They're eating healthier now. This
Mm.
was not something that they were intending to happen. And so we got to think, what is the other alternative to Social Security? And really, marketplace ministry. I mean, as much as we don't want to do business, it's like that's the other option is to have another stream of income that's coming in your home.
But I guess people who are already older, and they're not going to have much options then.
I
Like people,
know that's the
people.
thing. We that's where so the power of a nonprofit organization,
Mhm.
because I'm in that space, I have clients that are nonprofits. The government does fund nonprofits with grants. Sometimes those grants are like $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. And it's just all about tapping into the right resources. So sometimes we got to get as we have to build we have to continue to build community. The church, the church is supposed to be a community, and some of them form nonprofits to get grants because a lot of times grants don't come to churches; they'll go to a CDC, as they call it, a Community Development Corporation. So there are resources, and right now, if you're in that place, I would say to anyone that is receiving Social Security right now or expect to get Social Security at some point in the near future, you need to do research right now and connect with your community leaders. There's
Hmm.
money out there.
Okay.
There's money out there. And so just to kind of like give you an example, I'm aware that there was a grant that the government was trying to give to a nonprofit. Oh, it was ranging between 4 million to almost $10 million. Okay, I'm just giving numbers. That many times we don't know how to do business, and they were trying to find the right nonprofit to give it to. So there's part of the answer right there. Is just how do we make sure that our nonprofits are compliant to ensure the community gets this money?
Funny. So to your point, one of my colleagues who I'm going to be connecting with, who lives in a whole nother region, um, who does this my sort of work. I'm going to be connecting with him because I found out, I did some research and asked someone else about him, but he apparently built a very successful nonprofit, and had access to grants doing this type of work, doing therapeutic work,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yep.
in a state. So we're going to be talking soon. But I also have colleagues who have a private practice like I do, but they also, in addition to their private practice, they also have a nonprofit. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a space, later when I get done some of this other goals. It's definitely a space I'm going to move it to. We got a comment from one of my regular viewers. His name is Lamar. He Earlier, from what we said, he said, "I just hope all state and federal workers will be okay and not have to worry about job security, even though that seems to be a very possible outcome." He said, "I tried to start my own business, but I just didn't have the startup capital at the time to do it. I'm still dreaming big and have not given up on the vision." Mr. Butler, speak life into Lamar, because I know you've met with a whole lot of people who, um, I don't think I had, for what I do. I don't think I had any. I certainly didn't have no capital. But but what would you say to Mr. Lamar?
So this, I mean, and what he's saying is I mean, this is packaged to the point that a lot of people are saying the same thing, really. Job security. There is no job security.
My Lord, my
There's
God.
not. So why do we continue to think that there's job security? Back in the day when my grandfather and my grandmother were working, they had more job security than we do now.
Hmm.
With AI, we don't, the federal government, the president, Biden, um, said that all the government agencies had to have a AI officer because they need the government to switch over to AI. There is no job security when it come down to AI. There is no job security when it comes down to these private companies, publicly traded companies. Why? Because the AI can answer the phone, AI can answer email, AI can put together a website, AI can do so much more instead of complaining like half the people that complain today with their little jobs. And so if I can get AI to do it, it's going to be great. So it's like, okay, let's get on. All right, those that work, those that have a job, let's figure out another opportunity. Let's figure out how to navigate this new market. How do we leverage AI to build something? Chat GPT is free. And then you have the more advanced version if you feel like you need more service that ChatGPT can offer for $19 a month, and there are other ones as well, like Genius. There's so many others, but now you don't really need capital to build a business. You really don't. You can get online and sell what's in your house, and online is free. Facebook is free, Instagram is free, TikTok is free. Live social selling is going to increase over the next year significantly. More people are going to be selling stuff on live social selling. And TikTok, they're already doing it. Instagram, they don't do it as much, but Facebook, they do it sometimes. But TikTok is a big marketplace for people to sell online. There's another site called Whatnot, WHATNOT, Whatnot. It's almost like what not to sell. Sell something. You can make more money selling what's in your house, and then you could use that to put some more money out there, like spend to get more supplies.
Wow.
People are making more money on social media than ever before. So, like on TikTok, if you start doing videos on TikTok, you grow your audience. They will pay you a lot of money. They will pay you about $5,000 a month. YouTube, you bringing enough followers on YouTube, and there's plenty of videos of how to grow your audience on YouTube. If you do this stuff, you can make money, honestly. So the capital is not like it used to be. That's why I said you can make. If I go back to 10, 15 years ago, yes, it was a little bit more challenging to get to $1 million, but today is nothing to get to $1 million if you know how to work online. So yes, should you be concerned? You should be concerned about job security, but don't let it stop you from pursuing something that you can leverage and build streams of income to
For sure.
supplement, just in case.
Absolutely.
And I mean, my own personal testimony. Let me give my personal testimony because people like to hear like where I come from, right?
He said thank you. He said thank you, but go ahead.
Oh, you're very welcome. So when I started off in auditing, I was going for my degree in accounting, and people came to me, and this is back in late '90s, saying, "Donald, I want you to do my taxes." And I was like, "Okay, I'm learning how to do taxes, fine." But I had a full-time job doing audits, and so I've been doing taxes over 25 years. But during that time, I didn't start my business until 2019. But I was doing taxes every year that tax season came. I did accounting on the side. So I always had that side hustle, but I never thought to have a business, never desired to have a business. God told me I was going to have a business. I said, no, okay, fine. I mean, I'm being obedient. And so 2019, I launched my business. I didn't just launch my business just because I wanted to. My job let me go. I'm the one that had a top secret clearance. I have a master's degree. I have certifications. I have license to do taxes. Why don't I have knowledge in cybersecurity? I can't find a job. Are you serious? I'm a professor. And Johns would say that that was a conflict of interest. I'm like, I'm teaching the subject that you're hiring me for.
Mm.
I knew it was my calling to start a business. And I went from making six figures to nothing starting my business.
Wow.
So talk about having capital. I didn't have any capital to start a business. I just said, hey, do you need accounting services? And they believe me. Hey, you need accounting services. Why I need accounting services? Because I'm the one to keep you out of jail. I was like, I need to figure out a better pitch.
I hear
But
you.
that was working. And the more I said it, the more people were like, I need to use the services. Then the room, then the feedback got out. Donald's great. Donald, da 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 da. So I'm not just saying this. I've actually lived this. A master's degree in accounting and IT. How could that person not be able to find a job? But anyway,
Thank you.
yes. So be encouraged. You can do it.
Donald, spirituality and finances. People wrestle with that.
Yes, sir.
Is God engaged and involved at all in the notion of money? Should we include God in our money decisions, money management, decisions about money? Speak to, I know you talk
Absolutely.
a lot, you deal with this a lot. So speak to the notion of God and money, whatever you want to share.
Yeah. So think about money. God did not create the dollar bills. at all.
I like that.
Um, but what he did is he created resources for us to use, and we came up with the concept of what is money, that type of thing, what is valuable, and but we should involve God in our money decisions, absolutely, because He says, "Tell Him everything."
Mm.
Should we leave something out? So let's start with that. So a scripture that says, "Tell Him everything." He wants to know all the things that's going on in your life because He cares, and He can help you make good money choices. He can connect you with the right people. So yes, you should definitely include God in your money making decisions or your money decisions. When I had a job that God told me leave, this is a way for me to make money. He said, leave this job. I said, no, Lord, I need to stay at this job because I need to at least put in 3, 4 years. And He said, leave. The job let me go. I didn't follow what He said. So when the job let me go, I was upset. I said, these people are racist. And He said, no, they're not racist. I placed them strategically there for them to let you go because you wouldn't have left if they wouldn't have let you go.
Isn't it amazing how he opens doors for us or closes doors for us, and we
Yep.
and sometimes he gives us gentle nudges to do something.
Yep.
When I had been at, to your point, I had been at the Johns Hopkins for 10 years, and I started seeing the winds of change and how I needed to move, grow, and develop. And a man of God who's a true prophet, and I don't call everybody that easily. years ago, years ago, at a youth and young adult retreat up in the mountains, years ago, he said, I didn't understand it then. You know, I knew he was valid, but he said, Johns Hopkins is not going to be able to hold you. Had no idea, right? It came to pass later. And I knew at a point where to your point, like you said, I needed to leave and grow. And did I see all of this that I see now as far as a business owner and successful business owner? No, no. All I heard was a word and take a step, and bit, and it's not even fully fulfilled yet, right? It's still developing, right? Take a step, bit by bit,
Hmm.
by piece, portion by portion, um, stepping out on faith, and that's what he does. And even with you know, and financially, and I had something else that was supplying me income at the time too, and he was like, "Step out of that too," and I was like, "What?" Right? So so it is right. Yeah, you'd be like, "Huh?" We as
Right.
humans, for us as humans, we like stability. We get that
We
standard money,
do.
standard paycheck, that system, everything is set up for us. But to what you said earlier, those of us that are in the business owner space or moving into the business, I have clients who are moving into that space. It's a faith step. It's a faith walk, and
Hmm.
we it's not for everybody.
You have to
I think
know. You have to know when to go, what
yes.
God is saying, what industry to go into, all that type. Absolutely.
So wait. So concerning God and spirituality and finances. So God doesn't. He doesn't want us to be. He doesn't want us to be. There's this doctrine of poverty going around. He doesn't want a vow of poverty. What they call it? Take a vow of poverty. He doesn't want us to be. He doesn't want us to be. He doesn't want us to be
I would
poor.
say this. I would say this. You got to know what God wants for you.
Okay.
The earth defines poverty. God doesn't define poverty in the same manner as man has defined poverty. So when I
Mm.
go to the IRS, I know what the IRS says as far as poverty is concerned. But God's definition of poverty is different. So depending on what He says, if He wants you to live a life that you don't have anything, that you owning nothing, but you know, if that's what He wants you to do, you have to follow that. But it's not so much that you don't have anything, but it must be another path that He's taking you on that doesn't look like everything else. Maybe He doesn't want you being held down by something else. I'll give you an example. Most people are enslaved to their mortgage. They are enslaved to their mortgage. They stay in the same house. They stay in the same location for years. When God probably would rather them move to another location because there's greater blessings in another location. Mortgage means death. It's a contract of death. It's
Jesus.
a morgue, that's what it stands for. If we don't understand the terminology of how things are defined,
Wow.
why do you think they took
Wow.
Latin out of schools? They took Latin out of schools because Latin is like the foundation of the English language. It helps you understand stuff. When you read stuff that's written in the court documents, it's using Latin. And any attorney here or judge knows that that's how it's written. But they took Latin out because they knew it was making people intelligent. So what did they replace it with? They replaced it with Spanish.
Yeah.
That's
You're
why it's
right.
hard for people to understand what this word of God says. And we're not even gonna get into that, but I'm just saying, but yes, God should be in your finances. You should listen to God when it comes down to your finances. He can give you the trajectory of how to navigate this walk and this area, this arena. But if it's your purpose to build wealth and to have lots of it, then do it. But there's nothing out here that's stopping you from doing it. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you something, Dion. I know we got get ready to wrap up for the sake of time, but if there's something else you want to bring up, please feel free. But let me
Good.
just empower y'all just for a second.
Good.
The world is a global stage that you have access to that no one's limiting you from. You can get on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. You can build something on every single platform and you can reach the world. People have more followers than TD Jakes. People got more followers than Jamal Bryant. People got more followers than any influential person that exists. I mean, and they're making lots of money. They may be doing some crazy stuff to get it because everybody doing something different, whatever, but they're making a lot of money. Nothing is stopping you. The question is, why are you letting this stop you?
Mm. Our mindset, how we think, right? Our
That's it.
thought processing.
That's
The
it.
Bible and the Bible says, "A man thinketh, so is he." But in the behavioral sciences too, we deal a lot with people's in their thought life and their thought process, and the connection between what they think, what they feel, and what they do or don't do,
Yes.
or how they think, how they feel, and how they function. So those all are connected and related. As
Let
you
me
know,
tell you something. Let me
yeah,
tell
go
you
ahead.
something real quick.
You're good.
If you think that this was not strategic, this whole presidential election was strategic to grow the behavioral health business industry
Hmm.
because they knew that there's going to be an explosion for people to get mental therapy. There's a greater reason, but just start with that. Now, if I'm trying to start a business, let me think what is a good business to get into to help people with their mindset? Maybe being a personal trainer, maybe being a career coach, maybe being a life coach, maybe being some kind of coach to help people. People need coaching, people need help, people need direction. Most often, people are followers. If you tell people what to buy, they're going to buy it. Just saying.
You just
So you got to look at the strategy.
you just confirmed something for me to add to my repertoire, because I have colleagues who are both licensed therapists. So right now telehealth, we can only see people in states we're licensed in. There's legislation to try to change that, which we need, because for it would be great for DJB Therapeutic Solutions license wise to be able to see clients throughout the world. However, I have colleagues who are both. Oh, we got another comment. I have colleagues who are both therapists and life coaches, so that's something on my list to become a life coach as well, because that's a whole new set of stuff that I can do there. Good point. Thank you. I just wrote that down. We got a comment from someone. DJ Touch and Go said it's it's pretty difficult to gain traction in the social media space as everyone is doing it now. So you need a massive following.
I love that. Thank you so much. I'm glad that he touched on that. But you don't.
Ah.
You just need to get out there and do it. Just do it. Like, don't tell yourself there's no such thing as saturated. Just get that out of your head. We use that in network marketing. This is saturated market. No, 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 no. The only person that has the anointing to do what you do is you.
Woo. Ah, glory.
So real quick, I know we gotta wrap up. The spiritual part about this is if you open and say, I'm now open, I'm ready to receive clients. I'm ready to provide a service. I'm ready to sell you my product. That is a spiritual opening that people now can walk into to buy and do business within your business. But if you never open, no one's going to show up. No one's going to ever show up. And I'm going to tell you this, I just started my magazine. How many other magazines are there on the shelf? It does not matter. I'm not paying those magazines any attention. If anything, I'll use it as research material. I'll use it as a template. I'll use it as motivation. I'll use it to gain ideas. But I'm not using it to say that it's saturated. There's nobody that will read my magazine. No one will touch base with my magazine. No, what makes you stand out? What makes you different? We want to follow your social media. So drop your social media for people to follow. It is free to share.
Mhm.
Just promote yourself. Promote. It's
That's good.
free.
Wow, that's very good. That's good. That's very good. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and it's and I do understand how people because I had a client who wants to start a business type venture, and he said the same thing, and but I had to reemphasize it to him. I said nobody doesn't the other people don't have your unique style, your unique personality, which you bring to the table. Case in point, DJB Therapeutic Solutions. That's DJB. I'm Dion. For my clients who will have my full name now, I'm Dion Jamal Brown. So that's DJB. That's what DJB is. DJB Therapeutic Solutions. So, and I have a special niche with self care. There's to your point. There is not a black male therapist in my industry who has ever written a best-selling book on self-care. I'm the first.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
See,
To
that's what
God
I'm
be the glory.
saying.
To God be the
Right.
glory. Right. And I also specialize in the integration of mental health and spirituality. So to your point, with me being both clergy and clinician, right? There's no one that can do what I can do the way that I can do it. But I had to start somewhere because I bring my unique personality to my work of in a one-to-one setting and in a speaking setting. So that all that's is important. So all right, so we got about a minute left. This was great. This was great. We got to get you back on in the future. This is awesome. Good stuff. I mean,
Just let me know.
so many great jewels shared. Uh, do me a favor as we close. We get ready to close. I ask people usually to do two things for me. Uh, One is to share some parting words that you want to share with our listening audience. And again, for those of you that tuned in on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube on DMV Therapist, it will be stored on my personal Facebook page, Dion Brown, which is open right now as public. So you can share it, you can like it, you can comment. But it's also stored on my YouTube channel, which is DMV Therapist. So you'll be able to see it, go back, look at, rewatch it, share with others. So, Mr. Butler, two things. Share with us some parting words first. And then, secondly, please let our listening audience know um, how to reach you, connect with you, or anything you have cooking that may be coming.
Sure. So my parting words would be limit your exposure to other people's opinions and news and focus more on what is internal, what is God's word saying to you, and do more meditation and focus. It's going to help free you and learn to be an innovator over being a consumer. Identify when you're being a consumer and limit that. I don't want to consume so much. Let me turn that into me becoming an innovator, because being an innovator has its benefits: wealth benefits, tax benefits, and other things. Elon Musk he makes money from the government for making electric cars. They're paying him to make electric cars. But anyway, that's all I'm topic. But you can follow me on social media. I'll give you Instagram because that's normally the easiest for people. But it's Donald L. Butler. So it's DonaldL Butler, Butler, on Instagram. If you go there, you can always find me on everything else. So follow me there. And but I'm here on Facebook as well as Donald L. Butler. And you can call my office, text my office number 443-222-1978 if you need some consultation. I'll do a 15-minute free consultation with you if you just want to tap in and understand. I also have a digital marketing course workshop that I do on Tuesday nights. If you want to tap in, you want that. I'm teaching people how to make money for free on Instagram and TikTok and other social media platforms, and leveraging AI. So if you want that information, come on in, join in, and RSVP.
What? Sorry. Thank you for sharing that. Something I didn't know myself. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing with our listening audience. As we talked about finances, spirituality, and post election anxiety, and thank all of you on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for another great episode of An Integrated Approach. Make sure you like, comment, and share with people. A lot of people need to hear a lot of this. Lots of people need to hear a lot of this in reference to finance and spirituality, post-election anxiety. There's been a number of gems that were dropped. I'm going to go back and share some particular ones throughout this week as well on my social media networks. So take care. Until next time, we'll see you later.